Good morning, everyone. It is Monday. Oh my God, May 3rd. Wow, we are in May, and that is a bit surprising. I do not know where the time goes. This is Nadex Morning Analysis. My name is Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me from Keep Trading Simple, Mr. Brian Caprice. Before Brian and I jump into potential hot spots to look at in the markets today, I do need to share this quick disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk, and that this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. Now, what are we going to talk about today? One, there was a bunch of economic news, producer index news globally. We've got a whole series of numbers that are going to be coming out this morning in the US in about an hour. So what are we actually seeing? There's a few things that we're seeing. One, inflation. We are seeing inflation, and gold is actually starting to move, as is silver. So we're going to take a look at the gold and silver markets because inflation is showing up, and we are seeing that in the prices of gold and silver. We're going to talk about economic recovery. The UK, the recovering is going much faster than anticipated. I mean, they are ahead of the game. And with that, we are seeing pound strength across the board. We're going to take a look at the pound. We'll touch on U.S. Equity indices. As we mentioned, all these manufacturing numbers coming out, but we're opening in the green across the board. So we'll look quickly at equities. And then an idea for late at night. The Royal Bank of Australia is going to be doing an interest rate decision. It is very late for you on the East Coast. It's at 12:30 a.m. But if you're on the West Coast, it's something you might want to consider. At 9:30, it's not that terrible. So with that, Brian, I'm going to flip it over to you. Let's talk a little bit about inflation with gold and silver. Then we'll get into economic recovery with the pound.
Yeah, so a lot of it kind of boils back to what we saw this weekend. If you guys have been watching the channel for the last couple of weeks, we've talked about how, it seems like the Fed is doing everything in its power to tell you that there's no such thing as inflation, that, we're going to let it go moderately, and we'll let it go for a long period of time. And we saw articles last week where they were saying that, the real the real rate is potentially at 4. We saw another news release on Friday at 3.8. But yet the government and the Fed seem to be like, no, inflation is fine. It's good. It's all, don't worry about it. This weekend, we had an interview from Warren Buffett. Now, Warren Buffett is not Warren Buffett likes money. That's his political party. He does not have, he's not a red or blue guy, right? He is I'm here to make money. That's my job. Warren says that he sees significant inflation, not moderate, significant inflation amid a red hot U.S. recovery. And we're already starting to see it in prices. So take it for what it's worth, but this is the information that the gold hawks out there have been waiting for. The fact that the Fed has had a very kind of passive, kind of blinder stance on inflation has been kind of one of those things. So it's been kind of surprising. I don't know if people are going for a second term or if politics is kind of taken over the Fed now as well. But what we do know is when Warren Buffett gets out there, Warren Buffett moves the market. He called the absolute bottom. He did his warrants and everything with Bank of America. If you guys remember with the last big kind of financial crisis, Warren was saying, hey, now's a great time. If you listened to him, you did awesome. If you didn't listen to him, you sat on the sidelines, you just watched. You didn't do great. So it's kind of one of those things. But the reason why it's so important is because this is what gold has looked like now. Right here, let's see, second. Right here is where we ended Friday. And you can see it was really choppy back and forth. And the question was really what's happening right now. We're seeing inflation, but the Fed's like, no, this is transient. It'll disappear. We're going to let it go for a lot longer. We're going to let it run hot. And you really got to wonder what their motivation is, because a lot of the numbers have been great. We know that the rollout has been great. I mean, as I mentioned, in Maryland, they're saying that we're running out of people to vaccinate, right? The people that are going to get vaccinated are there. All the restrictions have been lifted for us in many states. I guess all the outdoor restrictions. We still have a few indoors, but there are states with no restrictions whatsoever. So it's kind of like, is the pandemic past at this point? It's kind of a strange question. And when recovery happens, that's when inflation happens, particularly with the economy running hot. Now, this is what gold has done. We had this blue area here that we had mentioned last week. it's been an area that we talked about a while. It was a bottom, bottom, bottom. Then it was a top. Then it was a bottom. They came through and based. They based again. So again, this is an old level that we talked about, and you can see in the overnight, starting from right here, we had a spike up. The European session drove us right back down again in that first hour, grabbed more buying, and then took off to the races. And when you look to the left, you can see we went through kind of a small level basing, and you got one little piece here, although it's not ideal. I would say right now, and again, remember, the coloring on this one is the intraday curve level, not the grander scale. We're kind of stuck in the middle on the grander scale, meaning the large time frame. But I would say right now, really up until 1995, we more or less have smooth sailing. The 1995 level, I think, is something we have to kind of bring up because this was the reaction the last time that it hit it. It was a level. It is not the freshest of levels, but this response off of this was huge. Going from 1795 in an hour and a half, we were down to 1770. A lot of movement, very, 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 very fast. So again, we know there's a lot of power behind that level. So if you are long currently already, that would be an area I'd be willing to kind of take some profit off of it, probably. Is it a reversal area? Yeah, potentially. Again, remember, we've mentioned this before. If this is the European session move up into that 10 o'clock hour, there's going to be profit taking, which when people start selling, the price will kind of come back down again. Could it be something longer term? Yeah, it could be. And again, Fed Chair Powell is speaking at 220. If he stays with his same line for what he's been saying for the last 2-3 weeks, he says, yep, we're going to see inflation, but it's all transient. It's going to go backwards. We're changing nothing. Again, that's something weak for the dollar. So on a technical / fundamental basis, a continued rise up this morning and then a rollover at 1795 when Powell speaks at 220 is definitely something that is possible for later today.
Okay. I'm just going to bring up quickly on the Nadex chart. What are we looking over at Nadex? What can you do with this? And it's, I left my chart unchanged. I haven't looked at gold since Monday of last week. So in the past week, we've actually got levels. It's rather interesting. We did have this level down below. We called the 1763, 1764 level. Late last week, it was testing it. Definitely, we have the up above that 1795 level that Brian was just talking about. And then there was this level in between, the 1783. It was sort of just something that was in the middle, and we had sort of chopped around through it. If I extend this out, you can see that right now, and this is what Brian's like saying, hey, we might punch. It's trying to punch through this level. It's not the strongest of levels, but it is showing. We are getting some strength. Let's just take a look here. It just since the markets opened last night, it's been almost nothing but green. How could you play this? There are binary options in here if you think this is going to keep going higher. Brian, definitely the if this then that scenarios. I'd have to bring this back. Let me bring this all the way across too, just to sort of help us out so we could see where we are. If you're looking, if it were to get up into this range, there might be some binary options if you're looking for a rollover. But again, it's if it gets up there, then there might be an opportunity. So let's keep an eye on that. And again, we're paying attention to Powell again today at 2:20 Eastern, 1:20 Central. Let's see what kind of story he has to tell and what he's sticking to. All right, let's keep moving along. Let's talk about the pound strength.
Yeah, let me mention silver just real quick, just because.
I forgot. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's do a quick one on silver. Please.
Yeah, so silver is kind of the double mover. The gold is up currently 1%. Silver's up 2%, and again, we've seen that it tends to react a little bit faster, kind of like a higher beta stock. We're approaching level right now at 26.54, and I want to bring that out because here's where current price is right now. You guys can see it here. I want to scroll back, and again, you can see that level, it's not the original hit, and it's gone far. And again, what that could be is a way for us to take off. You can see there's more hits here, and this is what I wanted to see right here. This is the level that is drawn right above where we are. So you can see here's the original base back in the early part of March. Right above this level, there's a few kind of small levels, but it's kind of clear sailing up into this 26, 29 level. And then we got another little bit of a jump. So I just wanted to see this is the area that we're entering. This is where we're currently at, the black line. The reason why, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. It was, come on, you can go forward. No, it doesn't want to go forward. All right. Oh, well. I'll just scroll it across. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because, again, this level is not it's a tested level. It's been hit multiple times. With the drive that we're seeing right now, Powell doesn't speak till 2:20. We're kind of butting up on this level right now. Could there be an opportunity for us to push higher? And I think the answer is probably yes. If we can push up here and we can push down. There is another scenario that I feel like, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, do you call Uncle Warren a liar or what? I mean, eventually Powell is going to have to acknowledge that maybe it's getting a little bit farther ahead. If Powell says that, if he acknowledges inflation, then it's going to be a big boom or bust for silver. I mean, silver and gold. It will jump them. So again, if we can come up and pull back to that level, there actually could be an opportunity today for it to go higher if he acknowledges the fact that Warren Buffett said we have substantial inflation. Any type of acknowledgement whatsoever could be a huge, boom to the top side. So I would say those are the two scenarios we play out with gold and silver, one long, one short. Again, a lot of it depends on where price is currently at. And again, if this comes through, if the opening print today drives us forward, look for a pullback. And then again, we may go till 220, and then this could also fall, but much higher up as well. So
yep.
As far as the pound goes, yeah. The pound is the big mover in the overnight session. So you can see that the pound, it's kind of strange, right? It's almost all green across the top except the euro pound. You're like, wait, how's everything up? Well, we are seeing a little bit dollar strength, euro pound, dollar Swiss, dollar CAD, all up, Aussie dollar also up. It's like, wait, the dollar's there, okay. And then you see the euro dollar over here, but then the pound up 65, and then versus the yen up 86. You say, wait a second, that's a lot of movement for a Sunday night. What the heck is happening over there? Well, this is the news that we got out of the UK. They're declaring that Britain's economy is recovering from the COVID recession faster than expected as the vaccine rollout continues. Now, we've been mentioning this also for weeks if you guys have been watching the channel, talking about, the pound is in a great situation. The Brexit effects are gone. Their vaccine rollout looks great. There are smaller countries. They don't have a lot of contagion risk with other countries. Their manufacturing is going well. There was the one issue last week where France was like, no, it's not right. But besides that, things are rolling along with the UK. I would say look for continued longs and areas of pullbacks for the UK. Remember, their vaccine rollout has been different of ours because they're very big believers and proponents of the one vaccine for everybody before we worry about getting the second one, where the United States is very focused on getting two.
Both, right?
Yeah, they're getting both. Remember, the only reason why we have the double is because that was the fastest way to get the vaccine trials done, right? With the substantial, significant results. We don't know what the ideal dosing is. That hasn't been around long enough for us to get that. But the UK believed that it was more important to get everybody with dose number one first to reduce the number, because again, it does have like an 85% rate with number one. It's higher with number two, but how many more are you actually blocking, and will it hold the spread? And the answer is yes. All of the numbers, all of their science show that that is an amazing way or a preferred way to roll it out. It could be kind of the way that the rest of the world does it. But right now, that's what we have for the UK. So I would be looking for pullbacks.
Yeah, I'd say in the US, I just hope we got too many people who don't want to take it at all. So I think we've got vaccine supply coming out of our ears, and we're running out of people who are prepared to take it. Even the first dose. We could really use everyone getting that first dose, even if that's all they do.
Yeah, I mean, right now they've rolled the research into ways to treat COVID to make it, I guess, kind of like the flu, like there's like a Tamiflu.
Right.
And then also they're looking for the people that did get vaccinated, what type of bumpers and things like that will they need into the future? Because it's probably going to be, if you got the vaccine every year, you're going to need some type of a bumper. The question is, and again, I don't want to go into politics of the whole thing, but if it comes down to the fact that we're not seeing increased rates and things like that, then the question is how many people that got vaccinated the first time because they felt like they had to will end up taking the bumper if they're not seeing rates go crazy for the unvaccinated people. So
I don't
have a crystal ball in trading or in vaccine rollouts.
We don't have that.
But I would say this is a pound chart, guys, right now.
Yep.
There's a few levels in here, and again, there'll be some profit taking as well. And again, remember, I wouldn't say that Powell has been great for the dollar, but could we see a rally back up into this level? I mean, I would say it's definitely something you got to kind of keep on your radar up here in this 139.66. I mean, that's the last time we've really had any basing really kind of concerted effort at the top, kind of like a peak. Could it move that way? Sure, could. I mean, we're talking about another 81 pips before we hit that level. So maybe U.S. session today, we get that dollar weakness, kind of counterbalance what we've seen thus far this morning. And again, Powell could definitely help that by saying, no, we're not raising interest rates, not for a long time. And then it's like, wah, 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 for the dollar,
so,
which sends us straight up in the air.
Yeah. All right. Let's just take a quick look over here on the pound. I mean, we did see, late last week, it was all about dollar strength. Today, over the weekend, now it's all about pound strength. It is actually just making that I know Brian uses these parabolic moves, and then he calls them parabolic retracements. We're kind of watching that play out a bit. Is there still upside to the pound here? Yeah, I think Brian was intimating that there probably is. I know we've got this level all the way up top that we could potentially see. There is this one other level in between that just seemed, in the past week, and call it the 139.20ish level, where it met sellers once, it met sellers twice. It sort of tried to meet them a third time. On the way down, it turned into a spot of resistance once it broke through. But this was a different story. Now here we're coming on the way back up. Could it pause here at 139.20? Maybe. The story really, though, is, are we looking at a full-blown parabolic retracement in the pound against the dollar after Friday's move? And it certainly looks like it's headed that way. And we've seen moves like that before. I know Brian is going to be covering that topic in a future. I know he's done it in the past, those parabolic retracements. We are going to bring that back and do that session again. We are going to get that back into the rotation. So for those of you who missed it, we'll make sure Brian freshens up that slide deck and we get it back in front of everyone. All right. I know we're running a little long, Brian. Do you want to talk? I don't know. Do we want to talk about the U.S. equities are all in the green? We're just seeing them all in the green. Do you want to talk about the potential setup if someone wanted to look at the Aussie dollar really, really late?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing too, guys, remember, always kind of keep track of news, particularly on Sunday nights. Just in case you say, well, I know that the pound's already moved. How could I take advantage of it? That news story about the pound recovering faster happened almost 12 hours ago. So 9 p.m. last night. Here's the chart this morning. Here's the UK Open. Here's where the news came out last night. So could you have watched this last night before you went to bed to say, hey, listen, is there any earth-shattering news that happened over the weekend on Sunday night? Oh, the pound's recovering faster? That could be good. We were sitting down at a level. We knew we were buyers. Here's the European Open. You could have put an overnight position on. It's 80 pips into the profit at this point. So again, it's always worth taking 2-3 minutes at night before you go to bed to see if there's any earth-shattering stories, especially on a Monday, right? So that's where we are. As far as equities go, I would say any of the equities are most likely going to be positive. Like I said, Uncle Warren saying that, hey, listen, the economy we're blazing, we're recovering. That's all good news. Again, if the U.S. trader decides to continue that momentum and we continue to push higher here, this was we were looking for a target last week. If it continues to put forward and Powell gives us the same speech that he's given us the last 2 weeks about how, we're recovering, everything looks good. We want to see inflation, and we're gonna let it go for a while. We're gonna let it run hot. That's the recipe for this to drive even higher, right, across all the board for equity. So right now, I wouldn't say there's anything too crazy. I will say in the Dow at least, we do have a level that we've talked about. It's been hit and banged around a few times. The level up here at, where is it? 34,056 is kind of the next time we have seller, or kind of a little tiny bit of sellers coming back in. But I would say if we have a break at that 34,066, again, look for us to kind of test this upper level here. And we mentioned it last week. We've had multiple hits. The second this breaks, look for a fast pullback in 34,145. I think the Dow gets some legs today, particularly if Powell is very passive like he has been.
Yeah. All right. You know what? With that, let's I mentioned it. If you wanted to take a look at one of the Aussie currency pairs,
you're talking about this, right?
I was going to say for anyone, it is a late trade. It's 12:30 a.m. Eastern. If I was going to say, take a look at it. People can take a look at it themselves. The Aussie dollar could be making a move. If you're up late, take a look. They are going to be talking about their interest rate decision. I don't think they're moving their interest rates at all. But what people
no, not yet. But there is an article. And again, if you guys are doing your own homework, there's an article down here that came out 5 hours ago about the red hot Australian economic recovery surges ahead of budget. And then also we saw more central bank keep stimulus as economy rates rise, and job ads have gone up. So Australia could also, in the rate statement, make something similar to what Canada and the BOE has said. Could that provide opportunity for the Aussie dollar to skyrocket in tomorrow morning's European session? Answer is probably.
So something to look at. We like to point that out. It's always good to know, because there's sometimes opportunity is at odd hours of the day. All right, with that, Any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. Any questions for Brian? He is also very accessible. You can email him, support@keeptradingsimple.com. Brian and I will be back tomorrow morning. Hopefully you will join us then. We do have the boot camp for gold and oil going on tomorrow for any of you new traders who would like to cut your teeth a little bit in day trading. You might want to register for that boot camp. You can register on the Nadex website. Brian will be doing a cool session, even for slightly more advanced traders, on exactly what we were just talking about, trading around news releases. And yeah, we've even got a comment out there. No time of the day is too late. If you're a trader, you never know when opportunity is going to strike. That is exactly what Brian is going to be talking about tomorrow. So register. Even if you can't make the event, you'll be able to get access to the recording. With that, want to thank everyone for joining us, and we will catch you tomorrow morning. Good luck in the markets.